Okay, so here we are. It's the 1st of March 2017.
Yes.
And we've been talking about this for quite some time, about starting our own podcast, because as a way of communicating with our community, with our audience, with people who want to find out more about BeCollaboration. And we've kind of thought we'd start off with maybe a little bit about history, a little background, and this isn't rehearsed.
Never is rehearsed.
It's not rehearsed.
It's the best way.
It's the best way. It's not rehearsed. And the main reason is I think we want to record it from a place of how it seems right now, rather than go away, do this kind of historical document. We've been working on the book, we should talk about that in a bit. So we'll come back to the book.
Yeah.
But the idea is that actually we're recording it from where we are now, rather than a historic.
And also, it's quite interesting. The more we talk about things, is we remember them in different ways.
Yeah. I came up with that idea.
No. Obviously not. It's me. Always me. And not that we're territorial at all.
Not really,
no, not at all. But yeah, it's good to look back. I have a date in my diary that just came through recently, which reminds me to look back at the last 12 months and see how far we've come. Because it's all very well, you spend all your time looking forward, and this is your goal, and these are your targets, and this is what you're going for. In any business, in any organisation, it's good to look forward. You have to be looking forward. You have to be planning ahead. You have to be thinking about what your outcome is and what you want to achieve. But it's really good actually to pat yourself on the back occasionally and look backwards as well and go, wow, actually, we've come quite a long way. From that very first meeting in 2012, when we met at the NLP course, funnily enough, I saw, is it not Darren Brown, the other hypnotherapist guy that's on TV, the celebrity. He was doing an NLP technique on people so they don't have the craving for sugar. I thought that's quite ironic, because one of the first things I remember you saying to me was, did you know sugar is as addictive as heroin? And I'm like, oh, okay. The passion that came out of you then, it's like, all right, calm down. I get it, I don't have sugar in my tea.
I think I said cocaine,
okay.
not heroin, but yeah.
Did you? Okay. See what I remember.
I don't think I would have said heroin, but I was just thinking back, is like what was on my mind back then, and what were the kind of, as I can recall it now, is I remember there was a couple of people that really were on my mind back then. I was talking, because I was kind of talking about this notion before I met you.
Yeah.
And it was really, as a business coach, working in a transformational way, helping people produce results they hadn't produced before. I was out there on my own. I felt a bit vulnerable, a bit kind of, I probably want to put it as lonely, but like, and I'd always run businesses, so I always had teams that were my team, or felt part of that team. And what I noticed is I had clients, and I was their coach, but I wasn't their team. Yeah. It was like, you know... It's,
you're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and that brings massive benefit to everyone involved.
Yeah.
But it was also, where do you go back to and go, oh, God, my day-to-day, God, this client, where can you go and, So I was starting to have those conversations with Naresh, and about how, a natural partner for coaches is accountants, because they're working with businesses. Yeah. They don't really do... Generally, they don't really do a lot to help them build their business, but they work with, and the metaphor I use is the one of a car tuning company as opposed to a garage that does your MOT and service. Mm-hmm. So a normal accountant will probably do your MOT and service and make sure your car is fit for purpose and compliant. And whereas, what the coach will do is help them develop the people, develop the organisation, develop the processes, put the mindset together to keep going through that. And then what I found was when I was working with businesses, they need other skill sets.
Yep.
They needed accountants, they needed a web designer, then they ask about a video, then they go, do you know a good bank manager, and I've got a legal thing, do you know, they started to, and obviously a lot of coaches spend, loan range coaches will spend a certain amount of time networking, meeting people, and so when I registered to do the NLP course, it was more of it was kind of like in my mind to always be on, going to an event or going to a show or going to a course as a way of being out there about meeting people. And I remember doing the 2-day NLP, and then we started talking. We met there, didn't we? It was just literally
we met at the lunchtime, and I, as my networking background is, there's like 15 people in this course on 2 days, and I need to make sure I've spoken to every single one of them before the end of the day. So we were having lunch, and I was like, so what did you think of the course? And I don't think you even answered that question. You kind of launched into lots of other things that were going on in your life, and it was like, okay, interesting. So we sat and we talked, and at the end of it I thought, okay, that was a nice lunch, let's carry on with the course. I thought that would be it, but you were kind of like, in my version of it is that you were like a dog with a bone, and we'd had a good conversation and you weren't prepared to let it just be that. There was more. Let's see more, and it's pull up. So let's have a coffee. Well, let's do lunch. Let's go and we need another coffee. Let's have a one-to-one, and it just kind of trickled on there. And the more you said, the more I'm like, yeah. And it's almost like I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't realise that there was a gap. And when you were explaining about being on your own as a lone ranger, as a coach going into other teams, that's what I'd always had. And at that point, I had networking in my life and the KPI program. So I had a group of people that were my support network that I could go to, that I could support them, and so that felt a natural thing for me. But I really got what you were saying about once the client goes, thank you very much, we're all right now, cheers, you've done a really good job, and you're like, but there's so much more to do, and I know, and you feel like you're impotent, you're stunted, because you know that you can do so much more for them.
Yeah, but and that aside, I mean that is really a valuable part of it. But for me, it was also, I like you guys, I like hanging out with you, I like thinking about your business, I like coming back and seeing progress, I like holding you accountable, then geeing you on and come on, we can do it, and then suddenly you kind of dropped at the end of the street and like discarded. It felt like that. I'm not saying it was always like that, it was very rarely like that, but there was a couple of occasions where it happened like that, and then I just, and then at that point I felt vulnerable and felt like I want to be around I want to share ideas with my peers. And and the other thing was, and the way we explained it in the introduction in the early days was, I wanted to bring people in to help my clients that they wouldn't have the time or the inclination to look for, and bring them in a way that I could trust them with my client, because we were very protective of our clients, not just from the scarcity problem of someone steal my client, but I've worked hard to build this trust. I've developed a relationship with these owners and their team, and I'm trusting you with something that's really important to me, and I want to make sure that we have similar values and that you're going to and that you're good at what you do. Yeah. So how do I know you can really build a website? How do I know you know, every bank manager will say they can do X, Y, and Z, and every accountant or whatever, right? And then it was like, well, without relationship, you have a responsibility to do your own due diligence. Yeah. So if I'm going to send Gill Tiney to work with a client, I've got to make sure Gill Tiney's going to turn on time. So imagine they've got this experience with me, and in my view, but I work hard to maintain really great experience for my clients, and if I sent you in and you didn't give them that experience, it'd be like, who's that? Not Gill Tiney, but who's that person you sent? They were like, they turned up late, they weren't, and you go, oh well, they're an accountant or they're a web designer, and but do they share similar values? And it was about the values, and it was about also for me, those people have an understanding of the way I work, and there's not many people out there, in my view, that are doing what I do with business owner operators. So it was that putting those things together. And I suppose the thing that kind of broke the camel's back is I brought a consultant in to work with my client, quite a good sized client. I'd worked with them for a while, and the client says, "Oh, can I put you on hold while I work with XYZ?" And I knew it was the right thing to do. Yeah. And I'd done it before, but I wasn't going to do it a third time. And at that time, there was a guy I was working with at the time who the consultant went. He goes, "Why don't you just bill me in under you?" And I'm like, but that comes with a whole host of other complications. Like, so if I bill you in, then I'm actually billing them for the work you're doing. If it doesn't work out, and then I've got to take the money, then pay you, and I've got to check on you. So it becomes a whole additional level of work. And then those were the kind of things I was thinking about when I met you. And then I thought, well, the paramount thing was what's best for the client. Yeah. In my view, both occasions where I brought other people in and it didn't work out for me with a client was the right thing to do, but it wasn't a great thing for me. And it only happened a couple of times, but it kind of made you go, oh, and also understand that in the scarcity model, why would you put your billing at risk to help a client when you're billing? You can understand why a lot of coaches or consultants work with a client as long as they can, because getting a client takes time, effort, and building that trust. But
the thing is, you're working towards a win-win.
Yeah.
And what it is a win for the client, or win-win-win. That's what we talk about in BeCollaboration, isn't it? So it's a win for the client and a win for the person that's just got in there, but not for you. No. So there was something missing, definitely.
And it made me feel foolish. But I don't know, if you can think about this, if you're watching this or listening to this, is that you do something that makes you feel foolish, but it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, you have to.
Like, I would do it again. I've restructured things in a different way now, but I would still do what's best for the client. because that just feels like the right thing to do.
But also that's building your reputation, isn't it? So people know that it's going to happen again and again and again, and there's the trust that's being built. And if you haven't got the trust, then, you know, doing what's good for you is short term.
Yeah.
But doing what's right for everybody is...
But when you're alone, you know, and if you're a lone ranger out there and you're, you know, I remember when I first met Narish, he said, I thought you was here to steal our clients. You know, as an accountancy firm, working with them, you go in as a coach, and that's the model they're in. He goes, I couldn't have been further from the truth. But at the time, when you're in that scarcity, fear, competitive model, which we're going to talk about a bit more as we progress this conversation, there'll be a whole host of opportunities that just won't seem as opportunities, seem as a threat, or they'll seem as something that may take something away from you, rather than add something and expand something. So it's that whole kind of switching gravity from everything going down to everything going up.
Well, it's the classic, and it kind of works with BeCollaboration as well, but with BNI, we would tell people to invite people to BNI, but a lot of people are like, well, why am I doing all of BNI's marketing? Because they should be doing that, they should be having adverts on TV, and actually, well, you could invite your prospects into somewhere where they can make some more money, and they're going to thank you for that, and they're going to be grateful to you for that, and that's building your relationship. And by the way, they probably will use you as well because they've seen you in a new light, in something different. So they didn't see it as a bonus for them to invite someone. They were just blinkered that this is my limiting belief. I cannot see anything, but I'm doing this for you. Why would I do that?
Well, yeah, I think about the conversation we had last night in London about building the community. We've been quite passive about building the community up until 1st of March 2017. We've kind of let it go the way it goes, rather than going, right, we want 100 members by this date, we want 200. We've never set targets. No. And it was always about the conversation, you know, kind of the philosophy of build it and they will come. You know, let's just keep saying what we're saying, and those who are attracted to that conversation will show up and they'll get involved in. And it's been that. But the thing is also when you invite people into something that's valuable to you, it can be a confronting conversation. Even if you ask anyone to do anything, we're kind of human beings, we don't like the no. So we struggle with the no. So imagine if you come to BeColl, you become a member, and then you bring other people. You having the ability to engage people and get them to buy into it for themselves is a massive life skill. You know, think about it. I mean, you know, you want to organise, you want someone to marry you, you've got to get them to buy into that. You want to, you want to expand your client base, you've got to get clients to buy into that. You start working with clients, you've got to get their team buy-in. So we're always, you know, on a level selling an idea about all concepts to somebody all the time. And so those skill sets are really powerful skill sets.
But also, it's only recently that we've switched the emphasis on, okay, we've never set goals, we've never set targets, that's not what we were doing. But actually, why wouldn't you invite somebody else? Actually, you're doing them a disservice if you're not inviting them to something that you enjoy, you get value from, you think is amazing, you're learning all the time, but you don't want to tell anyone else about it? Why don't you want to share?
Yeah, and I think that's part of us being stingy, but also part of us having a concern for if I open my mouth and they think I'm weird. Or if I open my mouth and they say no. Because the thing, and it's a bit like Dave Neese said the other day, who here has a dream? Everyone puts their hand up. Your dreams, put your hand up, right? How many of you can get a dream without collaborating? You know, how big could your dream be if it only needs you? I don't think that's a dream. I think that's probably a goal or a whatever. That's fine. And it's the same thing with, you know, with this whole conversation of getting people to buy into something. If you could go up to someone and say, hey, can I be your whatever, or your accountant, or your bank manager, and everyone went yes every time, you wouldn't stop asking people.
No, exactly.
You go, you can't ask anymore because you've got I can't handle all these yeses now. So, but we don't behave like that. We go, oh, would you want to go on if you're not doing anything Thursday night, do you fancy there's a film on at the, you know, I mean, if you're doing nothing, we could pop in and get some ice cream and then watch a film with me. And you're like, you know, and then they go, no. And then you know, like that means.
But in reality, you're asking them out for a wonderful evening, you're going to have some fun, it's going to be great, it's better than sitting at home watching Coronation Street or whatever. So you're doing them a favour. So why are we worried about asking people to do something that's actually for their benefit?
Well, I've got a question for you, right? Have you ever known anyone come to a BeColl meeting and actually said, this is rubbish? I mean, I'm sure someone has, but I can't recall anybody saying... I mean, even people who haven't joined for whatever reason, they've always complimented on the space, the authenticity, how they could just come in and feel natural. But I think where we've got to hit people is like the added benefit of being part of the community is what you take into your game. So there's what you Was it you who was talking earlier on about you practice? I don't think it was you. I can't remember.
Okay.
You practice, and then, no, it's Glenn. I was speaking to Glenn.
Right.
I'm going to mention people's names because they've been influential to this conversation.
Yeah.
So Glenn and I were talking about how you can practice in one place and then you take the show on the road somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, so you go and do the Landmark Forum. You could do the Landmark Forum, and it's not about being at Landmark doing Landmark Forum. It's those breakthroughs or those understandings and those insights, and take them to your game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coming to BeColl is not the game. BeColl is your training ground.
Yeah.
So there you'll hear things, you'll learn about things, you'll hear about an author or a course, you know, and then you go and explore that. Now, and we're not all the same, and I get that, and it's easy to kind of think from your own view of the world, and then I won't say judge, but expect others to behave the same way because we're all different, right? But for me, if I hear if someone mentions an author, I'll make a note of it, and I'll go and, you know, I don't like reading too long. I think it takes too long, but I'll go and download it, or I'll go and watch their videos, or I'll go and
do a bit of legwork,
go on do their seminar or something, and then I've gleaned some. I'm like, I'm thirsty. I'm still hungry for that. And I was talking to Jackie Perkins today, House of Colour. So I'm gonna if I mention this, I'll try and mention who they are and why I mentioned. But Jackie and I was about. I don't feel like I need to learn anymore. I don't feel like that. In my life. I feel like I've really learned a lot. I don't need to learn anymore to achieve anything I want to achieve. I choose to learn because it nourishes me.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have it like and there was a time in my life where I needed to learn stuff.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to, or I wasn't reliable in some way.
Is need the right word? I think you should always have a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
but there
what's
is
the point of being here?
No, but in my earlier days, I felt like there were things I didn't. You know, people talk about saying, I don't know. I'll go and find out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, with the information age and the amount, these these video podcasts and people giving away so much information for free.
Go and find out. Yeah,
there's no reason you can't achieve something because you can't find out. So if there was like, I use the example of if you want to make a cheesecake, you put cheesecake into Google, there's 400,000 recipes of cheesecake. And there's no reason you can't make a great cheesecake within a very short period of time. And as you apply that to sales, to relationships, to anything, so we are in the information age. And the information age has given us a glut of information. And also there's what information do you trust?
Yeah. And
also what information can you actually apply proficiently?
Yeah.
Because there's that learning curve, and it can take time to.
Well, it's like if you're practicing a new tennis stroke, you've got to get worse before you can get better. And
that's that discomfort.
Yeah.
Disrupts you for a period of time. And it's all awkward and weird.
It's like, can I be bothered to go back in order to go forward again? That's because it does feel it's upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think I cite the education system as complicit here. I think our education, it's got worse, but I don't think our education system conditions us or empowers us to think critically. I think what it does is it asks us to learn something and then replicate. And I think that's the biggest crime. I feel one of the biggest crimes in our human experience is we are squandering the natural innate genius of humanity by getting them to learn stuff and repeat it. Especially now when you can find out almost anything because you Google it or you find a download or you're going on a course.
Memory isn't necessary.
No, if you think about this whole transhumanization, how human beings are engaged in interacting with technology now. If I stumped you with a question, you go, hold on, and if it was pertinent to you, if it's important to you, if it's not important to you, then it's just. It's academic or it's a...
It was interesting. We were in the car the other day and we were driving along, we were talking about something and we couldn't remember it, and Danny in the back of the car, it's so-and-so. It's so quick.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting to try and work out how I could remember it, and I didn't need to.
Yeah. Why would you probably, what they cite that the human brain is the most complicated mechanism in the universe as far as, and this is a bunch of hybrid monkeys saying this, right? I'm sure there's more complicated things out there, but it's one of the most complicated, most sophisticated tools in the universe, and we're going to use it to recall things? Was it Einstein that said, I don't even remember if I want to find my phone number, I'll look it up in the book? Why would I want to waste neurons and brain space on something like that? Yeah. So then you ask yourself, well then where does your genius exist? Where does and by the way, genius could be your flow, your element, your sense of purpose, whatever makes you feel like you're in your zone, where you're not having. Stuart Swindell yesterday was doing his talk and he said, I didn't have to rehearse it, I lived it. Yeah. That's me talking about my life and my heart. Yeah. And that's what made it so rich and real. So you get people in a room and give them the opportunity to unpeel back the layers and get to that authentic connection, and you could use the word real, you could, authentic, real, vulnerable, people start sharing all sorts of very interesting things and looking at things in a way that maybe is not so guarded, is more open.
But also it cuts down the crap, doesn't it? Because if you've met somebody for the first time and you do the normal, how are you, what do you do, and all the rest of it, you see somebody at BeCollaboration do a know and be known, and it's taken out 6 months of getting to know someone because you're like, oh wow, oh my goodness, that happened to me as well, and all of a sudden you're connected almost immediately because you have empathy for each other. There's always that element of pain, or I tried this and it didn't work, or I was going on this journey and I ended up, maybe it was divorce, or maybe there were problems in the family, but there's always something that makes you kind of realise, yeah, I know someone like that, or my friend went through that, or I've been through that, and it just cuts all the crap out in between.
Yeah.
So because they're letting themselves be vulnerable in that space, it just makes it a more authentic experience. And I think that's where, whether people join or not, they do come away going, it seemed to be a bunch of genuine people. But genuine because they've demonstrated it, rather than you want something lovely to say. You say, oh yeah, really nice bunch of people, lovely. But actually these are the words we hear again, it's authentic, it's genuine.
So I've got a question for you, right? So why is BeCollaboration not networking? Because I imagine that's a question people ask us all the time. It's like, it's like BNI, or it's like for networking.
They want to put us.
They want to put it into, because we all do, don't we? It's like this religion, or it's like, because we want to fit something that's being presented into something that we understand, and there, ergo, it gives us a way to, I don't know the word pigeonhole, but it makes you go, I understand that.
And that's a double-edged sword, because I think a lot of our members don't know how to explain it to everybody else because they can't pigeonhole it. And in Simon Thomas's words, he said, I came for 6 months and I still didn't get it, but I knew I wanted to be around these kind of people. So he couldn't put left brain, analytical...
Let me hold it. It's not these kind of people. I mean, is there a certain amount of these kind of people?
This is the expression that's being used, isn't it? But no, they're normal people.
There's nothing special or unique about any one of them. But yet, I think it's the conversation, the space that's been... Now, that doesn't mean everyone wants to be in that space.
No.
So maybe that's what we mean by the kind of people that actually want to be in authentic... they've been around... we kind of seem to be attracting, 35, 40 plus?
Yeah.
So people have kind of been around, maybe a bit of battle war, maybe just seen it all. And they want something where they can just turn up and go, do you know what, I just want to be here as me. And then there's other opportunities and there's other conversations. So why is it...
Well, I think there's another... Just to finish off from that, there's another reason that it attracts people, and I think Elliot, Paul Cameron's son, summed it up when he said he was 18 years of age, and he was saying he loved the atmosphere because he didn't feel like he was being judged. He could have asked any question without fear of ridicule, and he said, I wish school was like this because I felt I could say things, ask questions, and nobody was going to call me stupid.
Yeah.
And that just, to me, summed it up. So I think it's a comfortable space, and some people don't realise that, and they can't put their finger on it. But actually, it is somewhere they can...
Thinking what Martin Cox, who came to our last Hartford, was it last Hartford meeting?
Yeah.
Martin Cox, magician and speaker? No.
He does all sorts of things.
He does all sorts of things, right? So he kind of... comedian as well, he's a stand-up comedian. He said... He said something like, I was waiting to work out who was the alpha male, positioning himself against the alpha male, or not, or to be wary of it. I don't know how he meant it, but that's kind of...
Well, that's part of his act.
Yeah,
he works out
who's the threat, whatever. Or who do I got to get in with, or who do I have to get in with? Because
he can have comedy with the alpha male.
Yeah,
at his
and
expense.
he said, I can't work out who the alpha male is. Everyone just seems to be just being themselves, and it's like there's no competition to be at the top of the tree. And I think that is a remarkable space for someone to walk, and someone like that will know a room, could read a room, or have a heightened understanding of the dynamics in a room because it's what he does, right? So that was really interesting. But why isn't BeCollaboration networking as we know it?
Networking is like saying networking is the same as saying an accountant. Everyone has this kind of picture in their mind of what it should be like, and you go networking in order to get more business. A lot of people have the misunderstanding that you go to networking to get business, and actually you go networking to build relationships. So if you want to make a comparison, you do come to BeCollaboration to build relationships. But most networking groups don't really acknowledge the relationship side. That happens as a bonus. You go there to do the transactions.
So could you say that there's a big difference between business referral networking, which is probably the standard understanding,
transactional,
and there are network. If you look at networking at the level of the way you distinguish it, it's actually about meeting people, learning about them, keeping in touch. Exactly what we did when we met.
Yeah.
Because you meet someone as a stranger, you swap cards, and I imagine many of you have done that. And for most people, from what I can tell, nothing happens. Nothing. They don't send an email. They don't do a follow up. They don't even connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I hope if I've met you out there, most people I've sent an email afterwards, or or at least you look at them and they go in a CRM system, customer relationship management system, and then you kind of connect on LinkedIn. They're just basic practices that people go, they spend all that time, they get ready, they go, they put themselves into a network, and then they don't do anything. So there is definitely a skill in networking, but most people don't even do that. It's business referral.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a plumber sitting in a group of 20 other people, and anyone needs a plumber, I can do a plumber because I'm a decent enough guy, I know what I'm doing, and I'll look after it. And then you go, yeah, my mate John needs a plumber, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because how do we get most of the people in there? How do we get our jobs? How do we...
Yeah.
How do we get
There's a place for it,
There's
absolutely.
totally a place. So how would you say BeCollaboration... I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but what are the main differentiators in your mind in terms of what happens in a BeCall meeting, BeCollaboration, BeCall meeting?
Hashtag BeCall.
Hashtag.
I think now we've got the measure of it. You can definitely you feel as you walk in the room there's a different energy in the room. People aren't guarded. They're not putting on their game face. They're again, this authentic word comes up. Now, we didn't write that down as a plan for this is what a meeting is going to look like. This is just what's happened as an occurrence of the values and the way we're putting it all together. I very much feel that with networking, people are very much like this. You're looking at the clock, got to go, I've got another client, got to do this. And they are on a mission, and it is transactional based, so they know they've got to talk to that person, and they're off. Done it. I can go and do a proper day's work.
So before you go any further, so imagine if you've been sent and you work for an accountancy firm, or you're the plumbing company, and you're the one that has to go to the... Because it doesn't seem like people... I imagine a lot of people don't want to go.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's others who love
really
it. I imagine people who they're in the element, meeting people. So you've got a whole load of people that kind of almost... I've sent people to BNI networking as my staff, but they were good at it. They liked it. I think that's Alan met Karina Harani, because he said, Karina, she used to go to the Stansted BNI group. Right. She said she used to like it.
That's a long time
She enjoyed it. Yeah, she enjoyed it. And
most people do.
Yeah,
most people.
Yeah, she did enjoy it. But so it's almost like it's something I have to do. It's got to be commercial.
It's the part of the marketing strategy.
The word you always hear is this ROI, the return on investment. I put in this left brain calculation that says, I've been here it's taken 2 hours of my time this morning, I've paid this much money, it's got to generate X amount of money, and it's sold that way as well, isn't it? I mean, it's sold that you on average can get, 24 grand. There was a figure.
12 grand.
Yeah,
in the first year, but you can maximise it after that.
Yeah, you can cover your costs, and it takes time to build that up. So in BeCollaboration, we're not measuring any of that, are we?
Well, if you ask somebody why they come to BeCollaboration, quite often they go, it's my treat. This is what I do for me. This is feeding me. I come here and I just go away feeling so enriched and empowered, and I love the people here. And it's almost like, maybe we can turn it into this. It's their drug. They kind of need this fix of BeCollaboration so they can feel normal for the rest of the month. So they're coming along to actually learn.
I know, I don't like that terminology.
Wrong terminology. But
go back to cocaine.
Yeah, there's a theme going on here. I really am not addicted to anything apart from my husband. So I do think they feel it's not a have to. It's
a desire. It's a gift as opposed to you could call it a practice that creates an income. So people come in and what are they? What's happening in the meet? I mean, we jumped ahead a bit now, haven't we? I feel like we jumped ahead. So yeah, we met. We swapped ideas about this idea, and when we first started, I think we have jumped ahead. I'm going to go back to meetings, right? But when we first started, it was like me. I remember me drawing a lot of circles. Drawing, and it's like give me a flip chart as a circle.
You couldn't talk without a flip chart.
I couldn't talk without. I could. I still struggle. I might as well have a flip chart here, right? But there was this thing about these ideas about bringing in the other talent, and we talked about technical ability and talent, and talent was like the soft, human, creative, we could term the right brain, heart skills, and technical ability was like maybe more your programmer, your web, I imagine web designers, a bit of both. The detail, the accountants, the bank managers, and all those kind of people, and bringing the talent and the technical ability together to be of more value to clients. That was because I'm reading the Vision and Mission. I read it yesterday with John Barfoot, and I noticed that it's kind of it needs reviewing because it's no longer about getting specialist skill sets together and then going and delivering a service to businesses.
That can happen, but that's not the
focus. That's not the membership proposition as it stands now. It was at the beginning. That was what we were trying to do, but we found it was really difficult to do that and getting people to work together to create the. I draw off the community myself. I imagine other collaborators do, but and people started to do stuff together. But that's taken a lot longer.
Well, I think that's what's happened. We were pulling together a community to orchestrate that. Yeah. And actually, it's better to leave it to self-organising. Yeah. So they work and do it for themselves.
I want to come back to that.
Okay, I thought you might.
Teal.
Can you read your writing?
No, okay. I haven't got my glasses on. Oh yeah, that's right. So there was that, and then so the vision and mission I think it needs updating now. I noticed the last 2 orientations I've done. I thought, no, I've got to update this. It's not that the intention isn't there. It's just it's not quite accurate. Yeah. So we need to do that. But other than that, that vision and mission has been pretty much, other than adding one value, human being first, about was that 2.5 years ago we added that. It was a while back. Yeah. So other than that, it's pretty much served us really well. Although over last year it got kind of a bit. Critiqued and challenged, and I think
it stood. Challenged.
Yeah, and it stood its ground. I think it still stands its ground. But yeah, so we started talking about this idea of building I don't think we called it a members group at the beginning. We just called it was kind of like we decided a monthly meeting format. We started sharing the idea, didn't we? Yeah. Really early on, once we got an idea of what it was, we put together an introduction, and we invited people to come to the introduction. And they said, "Yeah, can I join?" And we're like, well, there's not actually anything to join yet. We're just testing the idea. And I remember Alistair Ross being one, and Jim Jordan, I think, were the 2 that spring to mind. They both said, "Yep, I'm in. I want to join. How much is it?" And we're like, "Well, how much do you want to pay?" Yeah. You know. And but the thing was, at the time, we hadn't worked out it was going to be a monthly thing, and then we booked. I think it was August or September 13 was the first meeting in Hartford. What do you remember of that? I mean, how do you remember us?
It's gone a blur actually. What was the venue?
It was Hartford Theatre.
The theatre.
By the riverbank.
That's right.
Well, I know how I remember the first year was me at the front of the room for like the whole 4 hours, doing the introduction, then do the whole thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, the 4 hours, it wasn't a 4-hour meeting to start with, was it? I think it was probably 3 hours, and the introduction was kind of woven into the whole thing.
Was it? Didn't we? Oh, no, because we did the introduction separately back then. Do you remember we used to do them in the office?
Yes.
We used to do one every week or something.
Exactly.
And then they'd come to the meeting. Then we put the introduction at the beginning of the meeting. Yeah. That's right. Oh, God, yeah.
I think we did that once we went to London. When we went to the casino, that's when we
when we went to the casino. Oh my God, the casino! Oh, that's really cool. I've thought about that in ages. So we started off with the Hartford Theatre,
which was lovely. And interestingly, I do remember that first meeting when we had people there that were trying to rationalise it, and I then went back with trying to rationalise it back to them and realising that I was on a losing wicket.
I think it was a much younger crowd because there's photos from that session.
And people were like, well, what if there's 2 printers in the room? What are you going to do? Questions like that. And now it doesn't even come up.
No, I haven't had anyone ask that in ages.
No. Interesting.
No, no one's asked that. In fact, we had 2 accountants sitting next to each other yesterday. Yeah. And it didn't feel... Gary White and Stuart and they were talking about something about meeting up and do something together.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So we started the meetings and the format was 3 hours. And back then it was me just sharing ideas and showing videos, and we have a break and people would talk and we're creating this energy. And slowly it kind of morphed into, we kind of said, well, let's do a no. I think, and this is where we probably maybe agree or disagree, but I thought it was, I want to do a known be known. And I said that the known be known is about people sharing their knowledge and raising their profile within the community. The known be known session was about people sharing their, what their specialist skill sets are, but also a bit about their story and how they became who they are. It seems like the known be known has become one long sharing life stories with the backdrop of, like Stuart's one yesterday was the backdrop was accountancy, but it wasn't about accountancy, and yet it was. It wasn't about. It was about money. It was more about money.
Well, the whole philosophy is, what do you want to be known for in this community? So although that's what he does for a living, that's not what he wants to be known for. So that's what he was sharing. And
he said that it's evolved as well within the time he's been here, and he always felt it anyway. That he wasn't really just an accountant, and he shared that story. So the known be known idea was that people could share them. But the other thing is also educate the community, and then off the back of that, you come up. Was it you that came up with the masterclass? Yeah, wasn't my idea. No, I'm joking. I know it wasn't my idea.
I came up with everything.
Everything's all oh, because you wrote the book there, haven't you? Yeah, right. Jackie asked me, said, have you read the book yet? And I went, no, I've just left it to Gill. She goes, you might want to have a read before it goes. I said, what I'll do is I'll just write the definitive history of BeColl afterwards. Oh,
the contra. This is the real story.
This is what really happened. But yeah, so the masterclass was that this idea where you can spend an hour with the person that doesn't know and be known, where they can dig deeper and look further into that subject, ask more questions, or get the coach, the one-on-one experience with a group of 6.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you imagine somebody stood at the front of the room, explained their journey, explained how they got to do what they do, explained why they love what they love, and they might only tell you a little bit about, Scott as an example, a tiny little bit about marketing, but you get his purpose behind the marketing. So why wouldn't you want to spend an hour with him going, how would I market my business? How would I do that? Yeah. And he just gives you all this amazing knowledge that...
What, for free?
For free! It's amazing, isn't it?
How comes we've got people coming to a room, sharing knowledge they normally charge for free? What's that? That's mad.
It's cool.
See, so I'm going to answer the question.
Go on.
The metaphor I like is, imagine you're having a picnic and bring your best dish. It's like that. It's like, well, I want to show off what I care about, and I want to try your dish. Oh, you're into communication, or you're into whatever it is, dynamic websites and da-da-da-da. It's like I'm learning from that.
And it goes back to know, like and trust, because if you can give somebody a piece of business and you don't know too much about them, but if you like them, actually, oh, go on then, I'll give you a piece of business. Yeah. You don't necessarily trust them yet because you don't know them enough, but once you kind of know them, the know and be known, the whole premise of that is to get to know that person better. You probably like them a bit more because you see their vulnerable side, you see their authenticity, you see the journey they've been on. And that builds the trust. It doesn't happen instantly, but it comes. And then you go, do you know what, I want to work with you. Or I know somebody that wants to work with you. But that's not the divisive part of BeCollaboration. It isn't about sitting there, getting to listen to that person and going, right, who can I find a referral for? That's not what you're saying.
It comes about because if someone said to you, oh, I need a website built, you'd automatically think of someone within the community that you'd like to put them, no, you've got to speak to blah blah.
Yeah, because you can trust them. Yeah. Because you know what they're...
So if I'm being slightly, I'm not being silly, but if someone was asking this question, well, you've got 4 web designers in the community, who do you recommend?
The best one for the client.
Bingo. See, that goes back to this doing what's right for the client. Because, I imagine you put, like we said when we first met, you put 4 coaches in the room, they're all different, they have different sweet spots. Yeah, they could all service a client, but who's best for that client is the one that the client can glean the most value from. Yeah. Ultimately, they're the ones they've got to choose. Maybe they want to speak to 2 before they make that choice, but who would you refer or recommend? You'd recommend the one that's best for the client, in your view.
Depending what the needs are. Yeah, and you can only do that if you really, really know each other well and understand what they're...
So that's the know and be known. So that's about 45 minutes of a Q&A at the end of it for about 10-15, and it's used in different ways to do that. And then the genius slot.
Well, that's because you weren't getting to talk very much, really, so we thought we'd have to squeeze you in somewhere.
Oh, I thought it was because I was a genius.
Oh, sorry. No.
So I was challenged a lot about this discovering genius, be inspired program. Well, I was challenged by myself. Who are you to call yourself a genius, or who are you to talk about genius? And I guess the word genius, going back to what I said earlier on, is about when you're in your flow, when you're in your element, when you're doing something just as you, and we all have that, whether you're cooking or whether you're singing or whether I love driving. I just lose myself when I'm driving. There's something that...
It is me as well.
Thank
God for that,
it's like why can't you be that? We kind of often think of geniuses as the Einsteins or people that are I don't
separate
know, like they're almost like they're separate from everyone else. But actually, the one thing that can connect us. So the idea of the genius slot was is sharing the. So part of what I'm very passionate about and I'm very into is esoteric knowledge, and esoteric knowledge is very not commonly understood stuff. And I like to dig, and I like to go and find out more, and I like that stuff. So people say to me, "Oh, what do you believe?" I said, "Well, I don't really believe in anything in a way," and I'll come back to that. But it wasn't about proving that to be right or that to be right. Is some things are paradoxical.
Yeah.
Some things are both and neither, and it's just a matter of which one at what time you want to propagate or empower, and what's going to be the most relevant for what you're doing or trying to achieve. Right. So the genius slot was about creating a space at BeColl where we could share the latest cutting edge ideas we've got. Not to get the buy-in, not to get agreement, Not even to say I agree with what I'm saying, but I've been researching X, Y, and Z, and I want to bring this to the table. Or, you know, I think Claudia Arga. Claudia, you know, she said to me, was it No Be Known she did it last time at the end of the year? But it was really a genius, like, if you ask me. But it was a No Be Known as well, actually. She said when she told me this last night, she said when she was sharing last November's meeting in London, she said she was you know, like trembling. Not from fear, but fear, stroke excitement, and apprehension, because she was sharing something so dear to her and so cutting edge that first time in her life she'd actually publicly gone out and done that. And I think that's where I want the genius block to be, is that you're actually sharing stuff that you're not sat, you know, it's still an ongoing inquiry for you. So we talk about things like spiral dynamics, we talk about all sorts of very interesting kind of, and the idea of that was to expose people to things they probably wouldn't get exposed to anywhere else. And from a point of view of, hey, I think you might find this interesting, challenge me on it, ask me questions, and test me, you know, it's like a dual.
And yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I like about the Genius Slot, I was talking about this with Gary White yesterday, is that some of the stuff is a bit way out and is a bit, oh my goodness. And it's like, well, that's what they believe? No, that's what they're asking. Let's discuss, let's share. And I was trying to explain to Gary what Claudia does, or not what she does for a living, that's one thing, but what she's in BeCollaboration for. And I expected him, as an accountant, this is my limiting, you know, thought process and my stereotyping. He'd be, ooh, that's a bit strange. But we got into a really deep conversation about ghosts and spirits and energy, and this was an accountant sitting there talking to. So there's so many different ways that you see people in so many different lights. So although we talk about some woo-woo stuff, for want of a better expression, it's not a very good expression.
Well, I think it's not a bad expression, because it is sometimes woo. It's like, who knows, right? It's like if you go to the edge of philosophy, there's an edge. It drops off. We don't know.
But the thing is, you think that you're the only one thinking like that, or I'm the only one that's had an experience of a ghost, or I'm the only one who had an experience of a UFO, or I'm the only one that's been. But actually, so many people have. We just don't talk about it.
No, and I think that's the thing I love about the Genius Slot is people end up. I mean, you know, I can name so many of our collaborators, but Mitch Herbert.
I know.
Mitch opens his mouth, and you're like, wow,
what?
You know, what? You're a printer? No, you're not. He's not a printer. He's not. He just happens to do some printing now and again. You know. So to me. You know, and you know, look at John Barfoot as well. You know, sharing his religious beliefs with me yesterday, and when we was going through the vision and mission and context, he said, "This is so aligned with what I'm about." And you're not religious. I said, I'm not religious, and yet there's a space for you to be in your belief and in where you're, you know, where you are in your life, and those are the things that you believe and that are important to you, and I respect that, and I'm happy for you to share those with me. What I think is really important in BeColl is the sharing. And what we say in the introduction is we'll share, you choose. You may look, you know, say, you know, I'm not probably the best person to talk to about religion because I already have that filled up. No, but I would listen. And I would go, oh, that's it. And I may go away, and I probably would go away. I mean, I had that thought yesterday. Oh, I could listen to the Bible on audio. I've never had that thought. But it's easy to criticise something you've never read, never listened to. And can't. I mean, all I know about is the Bible is what I did at school. And that, you know, it's so long ago, it's it hasn't been reviewed. So you have a story about something that you've not reviewed in decades. And then say for Islam or Judaism or the sciences or anything like that. So the idea, and I know we've mentioned religion, I don't think we've ever mentioned religion at the front of the room at BeColl, but the idea is that we want to share the ideas and concepts that we don't get to talk about, and then open that up as a...
And it's respect for people's ideas and thoughts, because there's no right and there's no wrong. It's just, you know, you can disagree with somebody, and that's fine too. You don't have to sit there and go, well, you know, somebody said something about Trump yesterday, and it's like, you know, but we were allowed to do that, and I think it was misinterpreted at the time, but anyway,
but still great.
And Brexit, we had a whole Genius Slot on Brexit. I don't think you were there that time. Sarah led a talk, and she said, I know a lot of people are in pain at the moment, and whether you were for it or against it, let's talk about it. And it was just an opportunity for us to sit there, and there was no animosity, and there were people that were remain and people that were leave. It didn't matter. It was just like, let's just share what we're feeling.
But we're not used to doing that, are we? We're used to holding a point of view and then standing by that view. And then also, if you look at where that view comes from, you say, well, hold on, let's say my religious one. Where does it come from? Well, it's so old now. I don't even know. It's an unreviewed view of something that was the decisions around it were made at a time I can't even remember.
Yeah.
And yet they still hold true. They haven't been challenged since. And I'm not saying that religion is good or bad or whatever. I'm just saying that my views are entrenched in some decisions that I've made a long time ago. And then sitting there with John Barfoot the other day, and he's talking about his religion and the sparkle in his eye, and he talks about it. I'm like, do you know, that's really interesting. I'll probably go and do some research on it now, you know, theology or whatever it is, or why, you know, and it's easy to dismiss people because they're an accountant or because they're religious or because they're black or white or Jewish or whatever it is, because of some pre-held, I'm not going to say prejudice, it is a prejudice, but it's pre-held view that it's unexamined.
Yeah.
And I think that BeCollaboration, you may have a view about sales, you may have a view about staff, you may have a view about business owners, you may have a view about the market, the economy, and if you really, some of us, if we've been around a little while, if you really re-examine those things, there might be opportunity that you're missing.
Yeah.
You may look at something in a different way that it's been unexamined. You know, to quote Socrates, that unexamined life's a wasted life. So it's a chance to. In BeCollaboration, there's a format for those philosophical conversations, or from a more mature, inquisitive, explorative, open way, as opposed to I'm going to put my opinions and views down like that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's not about debate. I'm right, you're wrong. Take sides. It's you know, as you say, put it out there and see things in a slightly different way. So it's your view might be that way, but at BeCollaboration, we want people to be open, take their filters off, so they can see it in a different way, or that way, or just another viewpoint that you probably hadn't considered before, and then purposefully consider that viewpoint. You might still disagree with it, but actually proactively think, well, I'm going to look at that, I'm going to go and research, I'm going to find out, and then, you know...
Well, especially if it's something that is as a result you're not producing and someone's, been a catalyst for you to think of it in a different way to produce a result you want. Yeah. So you may have a view about sales, and then someone like, you know, say Glenn Williamson gets up and talks about sales, you go, oh, I've never thought about sales like that. That's really interesting. You know, funny, I had a conversation about Glenn today. I said you're going to see sales in a whole new way the next few months. And
he's going to rewrite all his modules.
It's like, and he's going, yeah, you know what? I said to him, don't make any conclusions, right? Just let it all sink in, let them learn. And he wouldn't be having that journey now had he not been part of the community. Yeah. So to me, it's like it's such a knock-on, compounded value. Yeah. That it's, you know, you could be sitting there listening to this. God, you're doing all this for a monthly fee. Like, we're not doing it for the monthly fee. That's the whole point. We're doing it to inspire and there is. I just thought there's a bit in the vision and mission that says we're not out to prove a model. As a members organisation, we're not saying there's some principles we're working from, and context being probably the most paramount one, but we're not saying it's true. We're just saying this is a good place to look when you're working out stuff. But one of the lines in the vision and mission is we're not out to prove a model, but to find the very best there is anywhere in the world and share it. And you may not be ready for it. Someone may share something. Let's say 5 years I might be a devout Christian, right? Who knows, right? But the seed started, I say, yesterday's conversation with John Barfoot, and who knows, it would be my choice. Or maybe John will stop being a Christian.
Doubt that.
But who knows, right? Yeah. If the next thing is right for you, then that's the next thing, right? But as we go through life, we kind of have this habit of behaviour of making a decision about something, then we're stuck with it. It's like the judge has gone, like that's boom, now that's the way that is. Women are like boom, men are like boom, accountants are like boom, black people are like boom, Jewish people are like boom, sales is boom, and all these kind of the judges boom, guilty, 10 years. I mean, how
sell of your own making.
Yeah, and then suddenly you look at your life and you go, I'm completely boxed in about everything. Yeah. And then you say...
And then it's all about blame, excuses and denial, isn't it? It's like, oh no, I can't possibly do that. Oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Why isn't it going to work?
Well, how many people have said to us, we're never going to get me in front of the room?
Yeah.
Have you met Gill, Tiney? I wouldn't go around saying that, mate, because... Do you know
who's at Hartford coming up next? Debs Davis-Tutt.
I didn't know that.
So exciting.
Good for us. Yeah. Good for her. And that's definitely someone that
huge.
said, no way, never, ever, I'll get me in front of the room. And who you become when you take that on. and the history you've got to get over. So there's some past, decisions that have been made about what it is to be in front of the room. Is it the thought of being exposed, the thought of being threatened, the thought of being at risk, the thought of being all those concerns are embedded. It's like that. I kind of describe it as program. The program is set, and you operate the program. And if you don't disrupt the program, that'll be it for the rest of your life. And if you look at a lot of that program, is done between the age of 4 or 5 years old, probably a little bit earlier.
0 to 7, isn't it? Show me the boy at 7, I'll show you the man.
Bang. And then you sit there going, no, that's the way it is. So I'd say to sum that kind of thought, that train of thought up, is that BeCollaboration disrupts your thinking for you to choose something that's more empowering. Only that. It's not about challenging you and saying, hey, your thinking is not great, because it's just, are you getting the result you want? Is there something that's missing that you would learn from each other? And the beauty of it, it's not about coming, we do courses and seminars and all sorts of more structured things, but the BeColl is the community sharing with the community. So it's this evolving collective of people at the picnic.
Well, we're just orchestrating it. We've just invited people to the picnic, and they're putting on the.
Well, that's where the strapline inspiring collective action comes from. Is that what we're doing? Is inspiring people to come together, to engage with each other, and go do stuff. So it's not all about be. There is some do.
Definitely,
no, you've got to go do something. Don't just sit here and chill. Oh, that's really cool.
This is the problem, isn't it? Is a lot of people get addicted to personal development programs, and how many times have you been to see Tony Robbins? Well, if you have to go 2 or 3 times, you're probably not listening the first time. You should be off doing some of the stuff he said. And I think that what has possibly been missing is the doing in the past. So, for example, the comms team have amazingly got together and produced the Quest. We've just had the 3rd issue, put out there. It's an amazing magazine. Sorry, I'm not supposed to call it magazine.
Online publication.
Yeah, sorry, Scott. But those kind of things. When you see all these things that are now out there in the name of collaboration, in the name of a wonderful comms team, promoting and raising the profile of our collaborators that have written and put their articles in there, it's like, wow, we kind of just sat on the sidelines, and other people have done that, and look at that.
But there's other things as well. I mean, I want to talk a bit more about the Quest. We can't talk about everything today, can we, I suppose? We won't talk about it anymore. But so the Quest is online publications on the website. But I think what I've got from observing, because I haven't been involved in it at all, at least you have, I have really, well, the thing is, I've really taken on, I'm not going to get involved in that, because it's not about me and you, and I think you've been more involved in certain things, and it's about, they did it themselves, and what did they learn from doing it? What did they learn from each other? I imagine if you've written an article for the Quest and it got sent back by Sarah and said, I assume Sarah does the edit, right? So Sarah will send it back and go, no, you need to rewrite this bit, or that needs to be more defined, or I don't know what she says, but okay, go away, do it again, send it in. Still not good enough. Go away, do it. There's still something you're learning. That is really valuable, of what it takes to create written.
And keep at it, because several people have had their work sent back 2 or 3 times. And to me, I would have been like, as soon as I finished writing, I'm like, good, there you go. And for it to come back, I'm like, it's quite hard to actually go back and listen to what she said. You might agree or disagree, but it's like, okay, and then change what you actually done originally, that you'd given in thinking, this is my work, this is my proud moment, I'm giving you this. Actually, it's not good enough. So you're up in the game. You're actually learning, and you're up in the game for yourself.
There's been a lot of opportunities in that respect within BeCollaboration for people to get involved with things that's forcing us to, I don't like the word force, but encouraging growth and development.
It's opportunity.
And then taking that to other projects or other opportunities that, maybe, you hadn't thought about. I can't work out where, you know what, can I just do something? 1 sec. I wanted this like that. So we can see what we're doing. I thought I'd turn it over. It doesn't look too bad. That looks all right. Hello.
Are you getting too dark in here?
No, it seems fine. It's like I think the camera's adjusting to the light. Okay. Did we talk about the book?
No.
Do you want, where are we at in it? So we're kind of defining the history of BeCollaboration. And I think first of all we started with Hartford meeting. Then it went to, we did some bits in London for a bit, didn't we? We did well, they separate to, they weren't Hartford anymore. It was either London or Hartford for a little while, wasn't it? And then Hartford kind of started to build its own momentum. We're getting good turnout, and then we went to London, and we've now run London in Browns, in Shad Thames, and then there was this, I think it was Surrey first and then Essex in the end. So we have the 4 groups. How is there anything to say about that? I mean, there is one thing to say about it. So if you become a BeCollaboration member, there's no restriction on member movement. So in fact, we encourage, go to the Banstead meeting, go to the Essex meeting, go and see what that crowd like. And we want the meetings to have their own flavour. And why would we want that? Why would we want them to follow our format and do it the way? But imagine even in B&I, even though you've got
every single chapter
still has its own,
has a different personality because of the people that are leading it and the ones that are looking after it. So you can see quite easily. It's like, oh right, that's why it runs like that, because he's an accountant at the top of the table, and that's why I knew that when, for example, Dave Caudle, his big thing is education. He really would dream of having a BeCollaboration meeting in every school. How lovely would that be? So wouldn't it be nice if we had a BeCollaboration group in every town, and then 3 or 4 of those people were to run different collaboration meetings in schools, so it's sharing the empowerment within that organisation. So over in Surrey, that David runs with Andrew, it's a lot of stuff about education. We've had head teachers turn up, we've had school governors turn up, we've had a whole session last month which was Bring Your Kids to BeColl Day.
That's
absolutely phenomenal, and the kids ran the show. It was just unbelievable, and I said at the end of it how humbling it was to see the future generation, and our future is in their hands. And it also struck me at the time is that I wanted to apologise to them for mucking up the world that we live in, because they're coping with what we've kind of allowed to happen. But these kids were amazing. It was, Dave Caudle's 2 kids, their 2 friends, and Andrew Morgan's daughter. But there were also people within the audience. And the nice thing about those kind of events, and we've done one in London as well, is that the adults learn as much from the children as the children learn from the adults.
It was really great, and I think those children. I don't like the word children or kids. I think those youngsters. I think it's a better word. But anyway, young people. It was like they will remember that for probably most of their lives. They'll remember coming to a BeCollaboration meeting. They'll remember doing the presentation. They'll remember being around the adults in that space of the openness, authentic space of BeCollaboration, which I think is a really great thing. And I really like that we did that.
But again, going back to the theme of different groups, you can see that that's Dave's passion. So understandably, that's what's coming through in his group. And it's the same with Scott. He's got a big passion for self-belief. So he has a group of people that he sees that he wants to help them, he wants to support them. He's got a founders group in Essex now. So those 6 people that are part of the founders group are...
But there was an argument at one point that we had to have a lot more control over the meetings, and we had to give them more structure and hold people... And I just thought, it takes too much. I just can't be... I'd rather get the culture right, get the values right, and let people... it's collaboration, and I think this self-organising thing is like we want to keep people under control and under manners, and I think that's a very corporational, governmental kind of big organisational thinking, where all we want people to do is thrive. We want them to do what is important. As long as they're honouring the culture and they're operating through the
core values.
Yeah, they're being good to each other. They're being on time. They're doing those kind of just things that you couldn't really argue about. If people are holding that true and they're working that way, then kind of everything kind of works out. Even if it doesn't, even if you have a disagreement. I mean, me and you I don't think we don't really disagree. I think we just come to, we have a very good way, a very self-organising way of coming up with what we're going to do next, and who's going to do what. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but we're moving forward.
Yeah. And
it's not about, well, I want it this way. But if you were that, I don't know, maybe staunch is the word, but I want to do it that way. Yeah, passionate, or that kind of, that's how you saw it. Well, I trust your judgment. And if if it went down in flames, you'd come back and go, that didn't work. Yeah. Well, I didn't think it would. But it would be like, it's cool, we're exploring, we're experimenting, as opposed to trying to get it right.
Well, I was just going to say, because there is no right and wrong, it's what else can we do? And I think when you've had ideas that you've wanted to go ahead with and you've run with it, it's the mutual respect. I think if you've got mutual respect for somebody, then you value what they're offering, and you might not necessarily agree with it, but it's like,
what are you, my mum? Am I your dad? Am I your boss? We're consenting adults, human beings. We're passionate about making a difference to the planet, to each other, to our communities, and you've got to have a certain level of trust. Otherwise, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be able to do anything new if you didn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, I you know, there's things that you've come up with, and I'm sure, I can't think of it now, there's things you come up with, I thought, well, it won't work, and it don't work. But that doesn't mean I'm right, it means it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you could make it work? You probably could, or vice versa. What I mean is having that opportunity to explore, I think this is notion that a set of filters are shaping your reality. Who's to say how skewed those filters are? How your view of a situation or opportunity is skewed by many things. Self-belief, your culture, your past experiences, a myriad of things. And then, so you can never really look at anything wholly objectively. You can just look at them in the way you can look at them, and then talk to other people about the way you see things and the way how they see things. And I'm spending a lot of my time sharing with people how I see things, which is kind of completely different to how most people see things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is to be a leader. That's what we're doing, isn't it? We're leading a pioneering, challenging conversation that's not immediately understood.
Yeah.
Hence why we're doing these.
Yeah.
This conversation today is that by listening to this, by engaging with the way the ideas are evolving, you can kind of get a sense of, oh, okay, didn't get that bit, listen to it again. Well, I did get that bit, well, I like that bit, I agree with that. If you just listen to this from a point of view, I agree, disagree, there's a certain level of value you'll get. It's not the most valuable way. One way I would recommend listening to any of the work that we're putting out is just look at it from what's important to you. How can this help me in what I've committed to? That's a much more valuable way of listening than I agree with you or disagree with you. So what? Who cares? Yeah. What are you committed to, and how is this going to help you?
Yeah. Going back to the meetings though, that's the whole essence. Once you've got meetings, hopefully across the home counties and beyond, everyone will have its own personality, but the essence of BeCollaboration will be in there because it's about the B, the context, and it's about collaboration. And it's like, if you've got those two in there, and we've got the culture and we've got the vision and mission, you kind of like, well, here's a little package, off you go with your personality and your passion. What are you going to do with it?
How would you build it?
Yeah.
And how would you say the name accomplice is the name we've given the people that run the groups? And there's a myth about whether I came up with it or you, but we both know it was me.
You wouldn't take the blame. That's
So yeah, that was funny because I remember you going, no, I came up with the word. I went, no, I remember it was, anyway, whatever. So we came up with this term called, we both co-created, co-authored the term accomplice, and we were very challenged. I mean, I'd say violently opposed it sometimes.
A lot of people
about using the word accomplice.
Funny enough, the accomplices were fine with it. It was other people that didn't like it. But then a lot of people initially was like collaborator, didn't like the word collaborator.
And I remember when I first came up with BeCollaboration, people said, well, shouldn't that be BeCollaborative? I said, no, it's BeCollaboration, BeCollaboration. And it sounded so weird at the beginning. And now we just roll it off the tongue.
But the same, everyone talks about their genius. What's your genius? And at the beginning it's like, oh, that's Einstein, Picasso, But now it's comfortable and we do it normally, don't we?
Yeah, we're acclimatised.
And then you go to a party and you start having a G&T and you're talking about, well, in my genius, I'm like, what's going on? So you forget that you're not in the BeCollaboration world. And it is, I notice a stark contrast between when we're in that space with people that are open and listening and available and want to learn and want to share and want to support, to maybe the corporate world or your everyday life. It's not quite the same. And you can see those people and it's hard for them. You can see them struggling.
No, they just can't think that way. It's just like, it's almost like the neural patterns are not been set that way. They've been set a different way. And I imagine it could be it's like trying to write with your left hand when you're right-handed. It just feels really weird, and you just go, I just carry on doing what I always do. Right? But the idea of the accomplice name for me was always about accomplishing something together. And they're your accomplices. And to me, I wanted it to be slightly controversial language because it gets people's attention. It's a little bit fun. And it's provocative. If we call them group leaders, they're like, oh, group leader, right? But accomplice, hold on a minute, what are you going to do? Rob Banks? No.
You hear group leader and you're kind of like dib 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 dub dub.
Group leader, I really like the term. I think affectionately, I think that terminology will grow. But how much would you say specific types of language has been impacting, like genius, collaboration, context? I mean, we use these words at the beginning. People go, what are you talking about context? And that context has been very much part of the theme. We talk about context, but managing context. We listen for context. Genius, when we're engaging with people, I mean, my experience of listening to someone at the front of the room, I'm consciously, and I sometimes unconsciously competent in listening for their genius. It's not what they're saying. Like someone's going to get up in front of the room and say something I haven't heard before. Probably it'd be great. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
But
One day it will happen.
But that's the knowledge. No. I'm saying that does happen. But I'm saying but you still got to listen for that.
Yeah.
You know. But what I got. I mean, like just recently, yesterday, we put Stuart's interview up talking about it, and we videoed it. But he talked about his relationship with his mum, and his mum passed away. And I haven't really seen much from Mum and Dad lately. I've just been working really a lot. I've been on stuff, and I've been socialising and doing other things. Just haven't put the time aside. And it really got me thinking about, like I'm doing all this, but whatever, once my mum or dad is gone, they're gone. There's no second chance. And that's, for me, that's what Stuart reminded me yesterday. Now, what's the ROI on that?
I was just going to say, there's nothing more valuable than that.
What's the ROI on that? I mean, what, my time, effort, it's like to remind you how important your mum is. And yeah, you could say that anywhere and it'd be equally relevant, but it doesn't get said everywhere, does it?
No.
Like that.
But also, as well, because you were listening for it, you were in that space to hear it. Where you might have heard it. So you've gone to a networking meeting or something, and you were like, oh well,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not the knowledge. It's not the. Someone says, oh, you should go and talk to your mum. Well, it wasn't like I should talk to my mum. Me and my mum's relationship was good. We speak, but it just got me thinking about. It got me authentically thinking about my mum and my dad in a way that I hadn't thought about for a while. And I think that gift from Stuart is, and that doesn't, there's loads of things he said that you could take away, and some of it I know, some of it I knowing, but it's not that. I think the knowing bit is the booby prize.
Yeah. Like
someone's going to say, and you do get educated. There is knowledge that you kind of go, oh, I thought there is all that, but it's starting to kind of go, do you know what? How many things could you do in your business or in your life that you already know to do that you're not doing? Being reminded is probably the biggest, especially our age group of people.
Yeah.
Because we already know loads of stuff. The cup's already full. How do you make a difference to people that know it already? They've been on sales courses. They've been on, Glenn said to me this week, he goes, Erkan, how many courses I've been on? And I was really, when you said to me about doing the Landmark Forum, I was like, mate, I've done all, like me, I'll be like, I've done all this before, but no, mate, this is different. Yeah, but I've heard that before. No, but this is really and he said,
just
do
it.
He just, your persistence and my respect for you as a person, where you go, I'll just go do it. Erkan said me go do this. I just, what? If you come to me and say, okay, you should go do that, I'll go, okay, go do it. What am I going to argue?
Yeah.
When you said KPI, I have my view about it, and I got a lot from it, and would I recommend it? I don't know. I would for some people.
Some people.
Yeah. But sometimes people you trust say, if someone's saying to you, come find out about BeCollaboration, and there's someone you know, trust them. Just come. No, and this thing about nobody's going to ask you to join.
No.
Now we are asking people, do you want to join? That's something we started doing now, but we're not asking you to join. Do you want some lemonade? Rather than have some lemonade.
Yeah.
It's not that. It really is. It's nice to be asked, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the nice thing is that generally people at the meeting say, I'm really interested in this, I'm going to have a think about it and I'm going to consider it. And, somebody, usually me, will ring them up and go, 2 or 3 days later, what did you think of the meeting? Are you still? And they're like, oh yeah, definitely, what do I have to do? And then they're off. Or it's like, well, yes, I really want to, but the time's not right for me at the moment. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And you just have a conversation. And I've had a conversation with a few people like that. And by the end of the chat, they go, do you know what? I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Why am I waiting?
I mean, on that note, how much did it cost to join BeCollaboration?
It's £50 a month. It's really expensive, isn't it? So expensive. I mean,
that's £50 a month and 150
your last day a day,
to get
isn't
each
it?
collaborator set up, orientate, and all that stuff. So 150, 150 to join, one off, and then £50 a month, and you can stop your payment any time. We're not going to go legal. We're not, but we do recommend a minimum 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, we should probably say, look, because the minimum 6 months is still only 5 or 6 meetings. 6 meetings at best, right? So it's not a lot of massive time around the community and with people. So it does take time to. And it depends how proactive. I know people, we've seen people very proactive and other people not so proactive. And I think I would give it a year, maybe even 2. If you're enjoying it, not like. I think just to some. It's like anything. The more you put in, the more you get out. I mean, that's the same with everything. That's not like a unique revelation for anyone listening to this, I'm sure. Okay, what else? What else is on your mind about it?
Well, this thing as well.
Should we talk about it?
Yeah.
This thing?
Oh, well, we could do a whole hour on that, really, couldn't we?
Do you want to do a little brief explanation?
Okay. This came about as a result of Andrew Foy asking us if we wanted to do the British Standard in collaboration. It seemed like a good idea because we were actually collaborating. So a lot of corporates have to have this British Standard in order to work with other corporates that have the same British Standard, so they have to tick all the boxes. So we got that done. And part of that process, we developed a form whereby you can do a 360-degree review of what you get out of BeCollaboration and what BeCollaboration has done for you, but also what you've done as well for BeCollaboration. So what we realised as a result of doing that whole thing was we weren't measuring the intangibles, the successful stuff. For example, I think a lovely example is Angela Makepeace, who was very nervous about doing a Known Be Known. She was so good at the first one, even though she was quite scared to do it, she was invited to do a second one. And then as a result of that, she was invited to do a third one. And at the third one, she owned the room. She loved it. She was so excited, and I said that was the best ever. It was amazing, and she was really excited by the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that potentially is her dream come true, because a year ago she wouldn't have dreamt of doing something like that. Off her own back, it wouldn't have happened.
And let me just go back. So if she'd have come to BeCollaboration and said, when she first joined us, I'd really love to stand in front of a room and speak. It wasn't. It was, I'm never doing that.
Yeah.
And whatever fear or concern, I don't know too much about her own personal view about being in front of the room. But there's something that happens to a human being that can get in front of a room and be themselves. It's a massive shift from being in the audience, I don't want to do that, to being in front of the room and own it. That's a different human being.
Yeah.
And what's possible for that human being is very different to the person that doesn't want to even be seen or talk in front of people. So that is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one result, that would forget all the other stuff she's been doing and involved in, which is amazing. But that one thing is life changing. It's a life change. It's a game changer.
And that's what we're seeing again and again. But we're not measuring that. We're not actually. Some people go, "What do you get out of BeCollaboration?" And they're after, how much money do you make out of it? And actually, there's so much more.
But even if someone asks you that question, let's say we take the Angela Makepeace example. Oh, I got to present in front of a room, and if that's something you do all the time, you go, so. So that's it. Yeah, what a load of rubbish, right? Or someone else who doesn't want to. I'll never do that anyway. So why would you want to do that? So it almost like you have to listen from a point of view. Is what would you want to? There's this thing, isn't there? There's this thing about what would you like to achieve that you can't achieve that you want to achieve, and what are those things that you would never want to do even if you could, because you just weigh out, and then do those things as well. And then where do you log that? Where do you keep track of that? You know, and I think in the vision and mission we talk about achieving the unpredictable. So unpredictable by its very nature is we don't know. Yeah. We don't know what difference being part of this community will make to you ultimately. We've got examples of what's happened to other people, but what will that mean for you? Who knows? I designed and delivered the Be Inspired program. That wasn't a predictable. It kind of is predictable, but it wasn't something I was really going to be doing. I hadn't. Heck of it. Me designing and delivering a program isn't that unbelievable, but it also did take a lot. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And having the community behind it made it happen. Yeah. So it's still a big breakthrough.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, when whoever has those kind of intangible dreams that they weren't anticipating happening and they're coming true, well then you extrapolate that into your everyday world. So all of a sudden, anything's possible. So that dream...
You're about to go, weren't you?
that dream you had when you were 7 or 8, all of a sudden you start going, actually, maybe I could, and who knows? So going back from the British Standard, so we were awarded the British Standard back in March last year.
And that's the BS 11,000, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
British Standard 11,000, collaborative working. Here it is, just to prove it.
Ta-da!
There you go, British Standard. Gill and the team did that. Well, fantastic.
So, explaining that to people when they were in the room, to the collaborators, one of our newer collaborators, Dave Neese, gave me a book called The Dream Manager. And what I realised was what the Dream Manager achieved is what we were trying to achieve with this speed document that was part of our British Standard. Not only was it a 360-degree review for them and us, but actually it was measuring the intangibles. And Dave went, what if we had a vehicle to put people's dreams in, and then you could track back to where the dream started, and then you could track forward to who helps them accomplish that dream, and then you could see how many people were actually enabling other people to fulfill their dreams. Would that be useful for you? So, no, wow, just would it be? So he started putting together, and it's still in progress, a portal, an app, software development, whatever you want to call it, a platform whereby we can do that. So we will have potentially a space where you can put your dreams into it and you can type them all up. And if you want to, you keep it private. You don't have to share your dreams with anybody. But as Dave said, how can you collaborate a dream on your own? It's so much easier when you've got people supporting you. So if you want to make that public to the other collaboration community, you can go in and have a look and go, oh, I can make that dream come true for that person. And you know what? What's more exciting, getting a dream come true for yourself or helping someone else to make their dream come true? Yeah. It's like giving a gift at Christmas. Yeah, we're not fussed about our own presents, are we? Opening our own presents. It's like, oh, I bought that special thing for you. Do you like it? Yeah. That's what you want to do. Is you want to, and every single person in collaboration will tell you they want to have an impact. They want to help someone. They want to support someone.
Yeah, and that's been a really important part of the theme, isn't it? It's like he's not only having the desire to make a difference to others, but experiencing that you've achieved that.
Yeah.
Like because quite often we look at the macro stuff, and I talk about that a lot. But how do you impact the banking system, or how do you impact the education system? But you can impact your own world. You can impact the people in your life, and that supports. You know, if everybody took that practice on and raised that.
It's like pay it forward, isn't it? And wings of a butterfly, all those kind of things, it will all have an impact as you go along. If all you ever make is an impact with the person next to you, good for you, but actually let's see if we can take it bigger. So Dave is working on the portal, so discussions and lots of conversations later, we agreed that probably doing it manually, Dave loves writing things out manually, so we've put that into a journal, so you can actually put all of your dreams down here. We've given suggested headings which can be changed for what your dreams are. Well, what we're realising is that every time you're at a meeting, there will be things that you learn, things that you understand, that will actually be part of the stepping stone process. So one of your dreams might be, I want to climb Everest. Well, you don't just go to the summit, do you? You start at the beginning and you work your way through. So you've got to work out how to get to base camp, and you've got to work through. So you've actually got to go, well, how do I leave the UK? I've got to get a flight, and how much money am I? So you take the tiny stepping stones. But all of the collaboration meetings, you'll be learning things and understanding things. And with your dream in sight, you'll be seeing people that can support you, people that can help you. You'll hear a know and be known. You'll understand people better. And you'll write some notes on the meeting. So this is all about the meeting notes. So every time you go to a meeting, you've got a space where you can write things down. Who presented? What was the subject? What was your key learning? What actions are you going to take as a result of that? And hopefully the plan is that they all pile in together and become that form that helps you to fulfil those dreams at the back. There are other meetings that you're going to have as being part of being collaboration. So it might be you go to a masterclass that would support you on your dreams. You're going to have a dream builder buddy, somebody that's going to pair up with you to help you. You might go to a workshop. Scott's got a workshop coming up soon, hasn't he? That he's offering.
Achieve anything?
Achieve anything, yeah. It's
a bold statement, Scott.
He's offering that for free to collaboration members. He's giving back straight away. He wants to support and help. So sometimes collaborators will give you a discount for being in collaboration, but Scott's going, no, if you're a member, come for free. Come to this workshop. Can't remember the date. Look on the it'll be on Facebook.
Did you say 23rd of April? No, I don't want to say the date.
No,
I don't know.
It will be on Facebook. Emails will be coming out. So there'll be other meetings you can go to. The Be Inspired programme, that will help you to achieve your dreams just by making you see life in a slightly different way.
Well, I think just to go, it's tapping into your sense of genius and abundance and breaking free of the if you like the established paradigms. She's looking at even what you consider a dream would shift. I think going into Be Inspired.
Yeah, and what's possible.
Yeah, like it would completely lift that bar.
You don't want to be thinking like this.
Yeah, because what dreams? If you get connected to your sense of genius and your sense of purpose, well, already what would become a dream would be altered. I mean, for me, designing and delivering that program has been a massive. You know what I call it, a dream. I call it. This kind of goes even beyond that. It's like, if I think back to, imagine, we talked about this towards the end of last year, imagine there's things you've achieved already that are dreams come true.
Yeah.
And then you don't sit there and think of them as a dream come true. Like 10 years ago, what you're doing now, 15 years ago, what you're doing now, 20 years ago maybe, whatever that is, 20 minutes ago, if it's big, you know, if it's that shift. And then we forget. You know, designing and delivering a program that's in people's lives is a massive step for me. Designing this journal, who knows what it'll be in 10 years' time?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, what this will evolve into 5 years' time.
Dave's dream is to have that portal with 1 billion dreams on it.
There you
How
go.
cool would
Billion
that be?
dreams.
Billion dreams. So
That's how collaborators talk. They're all crazy.
So everything within here can support you in making your dreams come true, and that's the whole process behind it. What we want to find out is the journey that you go on, and these meeting notes. We want this to be your Bible. We want this to be the book that you value amongst anything else, because it's going to be the thing that helps you to fulfill those dreams.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even know it's a dream you had. So there's even a space for you to write down the unpredictable. What dreams have you fulfilled that you didn't expect?
Yeah, and go back to Angela's, you know, going in front of a room saying, I never want to do that. And there'll be things you didn't even say you don't want to do or you do want to do that would have come up as an opportunity that you've done and gone, wow, I never even had that as something that was, you know, and this is an ability to track that and monitor it and develop it. So you can go, you know what, this is what, you know, what the Romans ever done for us, kind of, what's big, well, hold on, here's my log.
Yeah.
Here's my oh, by the way, I had this breakthrough in communication, I had this breakthrough being in front of the room, I had a breakthrough in connecting with others, I had a breakthrough in self-expression, I created a project, it failed, I did another one, it was successful. Do you know what I mean? It's like, all of that, I think it's really, I really applaud you for that. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
And that's the other thing about, there's things that you're doing that are so right up your street, the expression of who you are, that's adding so much, and this is you as an individual, not just as big collaboration, head honcho kind of stuff. Anybody who gets involved with big collaboration can make an impact in the community. Yeah. I mean, there was a line I used to use in the introductions, you know, what the name above the shop is collaboration. So when you join and you get involved, and I'll tell you now, there's people that have come and gone, we didn't even know they were there. Yeah. You know, that's the way that happened, that's fine. But there's people who have come along and gone, you know, British Standard, boom, this, be inspired, be powerful, which is in the pipeline, Claudia's programme.
The comms team.
Comms team. I mean, there's just there's so many things that Dave McDonald, you know, the videos, all those early videos we had. Yeah. You know, that contribution will always be part of what helped us achieve this. Yeah. You know, it's not forgotten, it's not dismissed. You know, a word out to our logo, you know, Rich With, who did the logo. You know,
we've had so many compliments about that.
Yeah, I think we need to find a way to send Rich some more. You know, people who've said, "Like, you like that, you should go and speak to Rich." Maybe somewhere we should talk about the logo, and if they want to know about who created it.
Let's just get him back in BeCollaboration.
Yeah. Get back in, Rich. I know you're busy. You know, Southend's far away, but anyway.
We're coming. We're getting closer at Chelmsford now.
Right. I'm wondering if we've kind of.
For now, that's a good start.
That's a great start, isn't it? Fantastic.
Hopefully, they know a little bit more about.
So just to sum this up, I mean, we've been talking about doing a podcast, we've been talking about doing this, so we've finally got around to doing this is the first one.
Yeah. Look, it's gone dark already. Yeah. So it's been a chilly day, it was quite grey today. I like to think about the feel of this space that we're in. So we're in my house at the moment, it's just got dark, it's quite cosy in here, it's quite quiet. You don't hear any roads cars outside.
Hopefully the sound quality is good enough, because I'm a bit of a geek like that. I want it to be good.
All these lovely wires, you know, we should have tidied up.
We're in a studio, babe. Not your living room, this is a studio. So yeah, we're going to do more of these, and we're going to do them with collaborators as well. Yeah. And I think if we really get the confidence, we just unleash the collaborators and let them get on with it themselves, and just sit behind the camera and let them talk about, you know, what they're learning, what they're sharing, our hopes and aspirations for the community. And I guess if you're listening to this and you're either a collaborator or past collaborator, or you've never even been to a meeting, this is how we operate. It's very natural. It's very open. It's very, we want to be a contribution to each other. So if you want to find out more about BeCollaboration, it's really easy. Go to the website, go to meetings, and find the nearest, most convenient meeting. It's free to attend. Yep. No one's going to ask you to join. No one's going to pressure you. People are going to be great with you. And if you're curious and interested about what might be available for you, what we really say is come find out for yourself. Is there anything else you'd add to that? about coming along?
Well, it's an afternoon where you're going to have fun. You're going to laugh. You're going to meet some great people. You're going to be inspired. You're going to probably learn something if you've got the right mindset and you take any filters off, providing you're sitting there with this open mind and thinking about all the things that you could be learning. I don't know about you, but I write every single meeting. There's always something that I'm going to take away. And now we've got these, we've got no excuse not to write.
Yeah.
So yeah, just come and be nosy.
Be nosy. We should trademark that. Be nosy. Yeah, put your nose where it should be. No, but listen, it really is that open. You know, we really open arms and open hearts. Come, see what we're up to, and see what you might discover for yourself. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. Anything else you want to add?
Look forward to chatting next time.
Yeah, so look out for the next one. Subscribe here. I don't know if that's true or not. Subscribe here. Subscribe.
Well, Gabriel can do that.
Yeah, Gabriel can have that. Okay, everybody, we want to thank you for listening, being part of our world for a little while. And any questions, obviously this is probably going to be on our YouTube channel. We haven't thought about that yet. Yeah, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. It's probably where you're watching it right now. Any questions or insight or what you got from it?
Give us a shout.
Give us a shout.
Cheers.
Good time.